That whole evening, my family was still bustling around, trying to finish cleaning up. We took out what we needed, stored away what we didn't. The bathroom had to be scrubbed thoroughly so everyone could bathe and rest afterward. Even though we tried to clean every corner meticulously, I still felt like there was a layer of dust and grime lingering throughout the space. Under the staircase on the first floor, darkness loomed thickly. I still couldn't understand why my parents left it empty, or what the strange yellow slime scattered around the village was. I helped my parents tidy up over the weekend. By then, things were just starting to fall into place. On Saturday night, I dumped out my old cardboard box filled with belongings to reorganize. During the house move, I had hurriedly swept the stuff from my shelf into the box without thinking and brought the whole thing along. As I gradually arranged everything onto the shelf, I spotted a small, tattered notebook at the bottom of the box. Opening it, I saw messy doodles and misspelled words everywhere. At the beginning, it said, H&T, Diary of Secrets. Inside were childish confessions between two kids. Today I got ice cream, or I scraped my knee when I fell, accompanied by endearing little drawings. So I once had a friend named T? I couldn't even remember who that was. Maybe it was a boy? I wondered if he still remembered me. I giggled quietly at the thought. My dad had repainted and fixed up the second and third floors, which made the house look much less abandoned and dusty. But he completely ignored the first floor. Curious, I asked him, Dad, why are we leaving the first floor empty? Can I put my bookshelf and desk down there? My room is kind of cramped. My dad snapped. No. Just pretend this house only has 2 floors. Leave the first floor alone, okay? Don't spend time down there. After Dad finished repainting, the walls became Nee's personal art gallery. She hung up all her favorite paintings. Nee was a lazy student, she only liked to draw. My parents even considered sending her to an art school in the future. But given our current financial situation, who knew if that would still be possible? On Monday morning, I went to my new school. My mom had managed to transfer her job to the bank branch in Hoabin, so she drove Nee and me to school. My dad stayed home to finish the repairs and search for a new job in the city. From a girl who once had a comfortable life, I now had to live in such hardship. I felt so disheartened. On the way to school, the morning wind stung my eyes. From afar, I could already see the district high school. It looked dull and lifeless. The 2-story building with yellow painted walls looked far shabbier than my old school. When I stepped into the classroom, I shyly introduced myself and went to the seat the teacher pointed out, 5th desk from the front. Everyone around me looked very modest, not made up like the girls in my old class. Most girls wore ponytails or let their hair down naturally. Sitting next to me was a boy with long, messy hair. The cuff of his sleeve was pitch black. He was carving into his 2B pencil with a razor blade. I didn't want to say a word. After 2 lessons, it was break time. Everyone gathered around me with curiosity. Hey, are you from Hanoi? I nodded with a gentle smile. No wonder you're so pretty. It's such a good school down there. Why'd you transfer here? Where do you live now? The questions came flooding in. They were friendlier than I had expected. In Noha village, I answered. As soon as I said that, the group fell silent. They glanced at one another. Oh, really? A girl finally spoke. That foggy village on the mountain? Yeah, I guess so. I just moved there, not very familiar yet, I replied. A boy made a spooky face and said, Hey, that village is full of ghosts. Ha ha, shut up, Tan. Don't scare her already. The girl beside him smacked his shoulder. Not ghosts, curses, Tan continued ominously. If you don't believe me, ask the guy next to you. Funny coincidence, same village, same desk. Hey, Hugh. The strange boy next to me looked up briefly but said nothing and resumed carving his pencil. See? That's why he's like that, he's from that village. Tan chuckled. If you don't want to sit next to a pretty girl, let me switch places with you. Then he turned to me and winked. I live just around here. Come hang out at my place sometime. Don't mind him, said a petite girl standing nearby. If you need anything, just ask me. I'm Hoa. Thanks. I smiled, relieved. I had been really worried I wouldn't fit into my new school. After break, everyone went back to their seats. Tana's words echoed in my mind for the rest of the day. There are ghosts in the village? That thought alone gave me the chills. Class ended at noon. I planned to take the bus home. As I left the school gate, I saw Hugh walking his bike out of the parking lot. He seemed to be heading in the same direction as me. It took nearly an hour for the bus to reach the stop closest to my home. From there, I had to walk over a kilometer along a winding dirt road I'd only just become familiar with. Tana's words from earlier floated back into my mind, and I felt a flicker of fear. But I had no other choice. I walked carefully along the dusty, twisting path. In the distance, the large mountain behind the village loomed still. Suddenly, a bike whooshed past me, climbing the slope. A skinny figure pedaled with effort. It was Hugh. He had gone home at the same time as me. His bike gradually disappeared into the distance. I felt a small sense of comfort seeing him, but once he was gone, I became fearful again. Now I had to walk alone on this deserted, winding road? But that was just a thought. I kept walking, patiently. Suddenly, a hand touched me, making me scream in shock. I looked up and realized it was Hugh, the boy who sat next to me. He lived in this strange village too. Stop crying, Hugh said bluntly. Then he grabbed my hand and pulled me up. Without another word, he started leading me through the fog. Don't go that way, I stammered, but he kept dragging me forward. If you don't believe me, just close your eyes. I'm just afraid you'll trip. The village roads haven't been great lately. We kept running like that for a while. The houses on both sides were eerily quiet, and some even looked dilapidated, not like they usually did. Hugh and I held hands as we ran, terrified. The fog thickened, and darkness wrapped around us. Hugh reached out and handed me a clove of garlic, saying, "Here, hold on to this." I took it and clutched it tightly against my chest. On the way, I could see vague silhouettes of people wandering in the mist. Hugh didn't seem to notice and kept guiding me along his chosen path. Where are we even going? My house isn't this far. Hugh replied, "Stay quiet and look around. Do you see any lantern lights?" "Lanterns? The fog's too thick, how can I see anything?" "What color is your house's lantern?" he asked. "Red, it's red," I replied. "Then look for the red one," Hugh said. As we turned a corner, I saw a faint red glow in the thick fog. "There it is!" Hugh shouted excitedly and pulled me toward it. As we got closer, I realized it really was my house. I rushed to the door and banged on it. "Mom, Dad, open up." The door creaked open. The first floor was still as empty as ever, and my mom appeared in the doorway. She snapped, "Where have you been? Do you know how worried we were?" Without answering, I threw myself into her arms and burst into tears. "Mom, I was so scared. I almost couldn't make it home." She didn't say anything, just patted my back gently. My mom invited Hugh inside, but he declined. "Stay the night, dear," she said quickly. "Our house is small, but we can make room. It's dangerous to go out now." "No, thank you, Auntie. I'm used to it. I'll be fine. I still have to go home and take care of my mom." Realizing she couldn't insist, she said, "Then be very careful. Thank you for bringing Hoai home." Hugh gave a polite goodbye and disappeared into the night fog. My mom locked the door and took me upstairs. It took a while before I could calm down enough to tell her what I had seen. She said, "You must have just heard those silly stories your classmates tell." "But I saw it. That monk, he didn't have eyes, Mom. And we kept walking in the fog and couldn't find our way back." "What does that mean?" My mom averted her gaze. "You're being ridiculous. It was just the fog, that's why you got lost. Now wash your face and come eat." Then she walked upstairs. I was stunned, like she was hiding something from me. Later, after dinner, I saw her quietly praying in front of our household altar. The next day at school, I felt awkward around Hugh. It wasn't until the fourth period that I finally said, "Thanks for yesterday." Hugh looked at me for a moment before replying, "Why were you out so late?" "I went to Tana's birthday party." Hugh frowned slightly and said nothing more, going back to carving his pencil. "How did you even find me last night?" I asked again. "I was late getting medicine for my mom. Just saw you by chance." "Do you believe in what we saw?" "If you want to believe, you'll see. If not, you won't." Hugh answered vaguely, leaving me speechless. For a long time afterward, I was so frightened I never dared come home late again. There was definitely something wrong with this village. I felt like the adults were hiding something from me. Why, that night, did I only see the red lantern of my house and no other villagers at all? What were those shadowy figures in the fog? Every time I thought of that night, I got chills. Lately, the village roads had become more cracked and harder to walk on. Each day, families took turns cleaning designated areas of the village. They mostly swept up animal waste and some strange yellow slime. I still had no idea what that slime was. Maybe it was some kind of special soil. Our first floor was always full of it too. My parents regularly cleaned it even though we didn't use that floor, and they never let me touch it. My little sister Nee seemed to adapt better to life here than I did. Maybe because she was still a child and didn't worry too much. Every day, she stayed late at school waiting for Mom to pick her up. She always came home cheerful, singing and chatting nonstop about school. I wished I could be as carefree as her. Lately, her drawings had been covering the whole house. I scolded her for sticking them on the TV, fridge, and wardrobe. So, she brought them downstairs to the first floor to hang instead. It seemed like a good idea, at least no one would be bothered down there. But maybe I was wrong. About a month later, Nee's health started to decline. She was constantly sick and tired. One night, I heard her delirious in a fever dream, whispering, Ari, wait for me." She didn't get better, so my mom took her to the district hospital to get 4 fluids. At home, it was just me and Dad. He had recently gotten a job in the city, so sometimes he stayed there overnight. The day Mom took me to the hospital was one of those nights. Honestly, I was scared, but there was nothing I could do. That afternoon, I passed by the first floor room. Nee had nearly covered the place in her drawings. Most were childish depictions of things around her: cars, pencil cases, etc. But one drawing caught my eye. It was stuck in the highest and most prominent spot she could reach. It was a portrait of a girl, about Nee's age. The colors were bright and cheerful, and under it, she had written, "For Ari." Who was Ari? I wasn't even sure a kid by that name lived in the village. On weekends, Nee often played at neighbors' houses and made friends quickly. Maybe Ari was just one of them. I thought so and turned to go upstairs. But then I noticed something on the peeling old wall, lines drawn in pencil, like height marks. They were low on the wall and labeled with the names Ari and Belle. The marks were old, definitely not something my sister or her friends made recently.
It felt like Ari had been here a long time. That thought sent shivers down my spine. I hurried upstairs. That night, I ate dinner, cleaned up, and spent some time doing homework. The hours alone felt endless. I wished I still had my phone so I could call friends or scroll social media like I used to. Since we moved, I'd lost touch with all my old friends. I looked out the window inside. Darkness had fallen over the village, and the usual thick fog surrounded everything. What was happening out there? I suddenly felt very uneasy. After finishing my homework, I curled up in my parents' room and turned on the TV, setting the volume high to drown out the eerie silence of the house. I kept it on and eventually drifted off to sleep. Hi, hey, hi, a distant voice echoed in my mind. I woke up and felt unbearably heavy. I tried lifting my arm, but couldn't. My body was pinned to the bed. I forced my eyes open. The room was dark, and the TV was off. Dozens of shadowy figures stood around me. I was terrified. A robbery? In this remote village? I wanted to scream for help, but I couldn't move. The figures moved closer to my bed. In the darkness, I couldn't see their faces. Please don't hurt me, I kept repeating in my head. As they got closer, I saw something in the dim light. A rib bone jutting out beneath the tattered shirt. A rib staring right at me. They began reaching out toward me. At that moment, fear overwhelmed me completely. I opened my eyes wide in panic and blacked out. Chapter 4 ends here. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to support my channel.